What's up, guys? Welcome back to Inside Out Precision. Obviously this is a little different setting than usual, but the shop is busy tonight. There's a kids league there, and I didn't want to, be filming at 9:30 at night, so I'm at my house. But today we are going to be looking at the new Epsilon rest from Hamskea. There's been a lot of hype around this. I know I'm not the first one to review this, but I'm going to go over some of the differences between the Epsilon and some of the older models like the Hybrid Hunter Pro and the Trinity. So you may notice that this is a Matthews. This is a V3X33. I set this up. I'm still shooting my PSE EVL. I really like it. But this bow, if you've followed along for a while, you know that the Traverse, this guy here, this was one of my favorite bows of all time. I absolutely love this bow. And the V3X33 is basically everything I love about the Traverse with all the new hot upgrades. So Hoyt and Matthews both this year are going to the whole integrated system. So, you can run the rest right behind the integrated rest, and then you can run the sight through the riser here. I actually just have my old Spot Hog on here right now because I'm waiting on my landslide. It's only been like 6 months. But the purpose of that, just moving the rest and the sight into the center here isn't going to change the balance of the bow that much, but what it does allow you to do is run your quiver, their new quiver, extremely close to the bow, which really helps with the balance of the bow in a hunting situation. If you're someone who hunts with the quiver on your bow, the closer I can get that to the bow, the less the bow wants to lean to that side. Now, Matthews has made their integrated rest for the last couple of years now. Great rest, but it is cable driven, and I'm just not a fan of cable driven rests. Not only do they not support the arrow for very long, but there's really no tell if that cord stretches at all or slips. There's no way of knowing that it's not going to drop until it just doesn't drop. So I've always wanted a limb driven integrated rest, and that's what Hamskea has done with the Epsilon. So it doesn't mount to the dovetail, the little joist here on the back of the bow, but the bracket, screws into the side of your bow just like anything else. And then the rest, you can see, it all sits, it only sticks out, that bracket only sticks out maybe a 1/4 inch from the bow. And with their new quiver, you can still load the arrows and it will not hit the rest. Whereas on the Hybrid Hunter Pro, which is the one I ran before, you can see how far out this arm sticks from the side of the bow. So if I tried to run their new quiver, my arrows would hit up against this. So the Epsilon, in terms of functionality, I mean, it's not necessarily any more accurate or tunable or anything than the Hamskea. It still has all the same features, which I'll go over here in a second, but it allows you to run it like an integrated rest while still getting a limb-driven rest. Now, you may notice that my cord, I actually attached it to the yoke here. The reason I did that is because it's actually the same as if I attached it right to the axle almost. But it shortens that cord and it keeps everything in really tight. So again, when I put the quiver on there, I'm not gonna have any contact with the quiver or my arrows with my cord. The limb and this yoke all move as one. So this yoke is gonna have just as much throw as the limb does. And the further back you can get that cord, the sooner it picks up and the later it drops. So I know this looks like it's attached to my cable, but it's actually just tied, right around that. So let's get to the features of the Epsilon. So it's fully micro adjustable. The riser or the launcher design is a little bit different than last year. It's kind of got that curved launcher right there. And the containment cage is also slightly different. So you can see how it's kind of offset there, the containment window, whereas on this, it's all one piece and it just goes right through there. What that allows you to do is you can actually take off the top or the bottom. If you were setting it up for a target setup, you don't need that window there. Whereas on this one, the guard, this is the Hybrid Hunter Pro, and the guard is all one piece. So I can't take just the top or the bottom off. It's fully micro adjustable. It comes in 2 different mounting style. So I got the universal mount, which will mount obviously on any bow. I did that because if I want to put this rest on a different brand bow in the future, I don't have to buy a new rest. This will fit Matthews, it'll fit Hoyt, PSE, whatever. They do make a Matthews specific one. It's basically the same, it doesn't extend this far out. But like I said, I wanted to be able to put it on any bow, so I went with the universal mount. It still has 3 ball bearings, just like the Trinity, so it's very smooth action. I can change the spring tension in it, which I really like. For example, so when I got this one, it was pretty stiff. Like the spring had, or the launcher had a lot of tension in it. With lighter arrows, what I've noticed just over the years of tuning a lot of bows is that sometimes you'll get everything's good and level, you'll get this like half-inch or inch-high tail high tear. And no matter like where I moved the cord on the limb or anything, I couldn't get rid of it. And by reducing the amount of spring tension, it softens up that launcher a little bit, and the back of the arrow doesn't like ramp off of it or kick off of it. So when I got this one, I actually decreased it by about half. I could go another setting, but then there's hardly any tension there. And you want support, you don't want it like moving as that arrow travels over it. So, I was able to get this thing to tune incredibly well. The other thing you can do is actually change the angle of the launcher blade. Where they come stock seems to be fine. I don't see any real issue with the angle it's at. But you can change how far down, like whether it's flat or it can go a little bit past flat. If you're shooting like a high profile vein and you think you might have some clearance issues, you can drop that rest so when it's in down position, it's further down. And then you can also change, you can have it pick up higher or stop sooner. And that's all done with these. Try not to dink my camera here. That's all done with these 2 little screws on the bottom there. The spring tension is right behind, so see those 2 little silver screws? So if I take this arm off that the cord attaches to, I can undo those 2 little screws, and this dial here will move, either increase, it'll coil the spring more or uncoil the spring a little bit. And then I can put the screws back in, and it's super solid. So definitely a really cool rest from them. You can do a lot of different things. So Hamskea has a lot of different launchers that you can get. They have kind of the Target line, which is going to be, they have like a blade style rest or a blade style launcher. They've got a narrower one of these for a hunting rest. I want something that's got a large whale tail because I want that arrow to be contained. I don't want it falling off of that, obviously. And with this rest, as long as my arrow, or with this launcher, as long as my arrow is inside the cage here, like I could draw my bow like this, and when I pick it, come vertical, it's gonna, the whale tail is gonna catch the arrow and it'll be perfectly centered. The only thing that concerned me a little bit when we first got it was because the launcher arms are kind of like curved. See how they got little kind of like a wing shape to them like this? I was a little bit worried that, if somebody was shooting a really high profile vein, that it might not clear. But that's exactly why they make the option to drop that down a little bit. Obviously with a Hamskea, I don't know how many thousands of these rests we've sold in the last 3 years. I have not seen a single one come back with anything wrong with it. It was the rest's fault. There was one, guy had a broken spring, so I should talk about that actually. This year they went to this rebound dampener, so the cord actually kind of weaves through that. And even if you hook this on something and pull, that little rebound dampener is going to give and then go right back to where it was. Where before it was this spring right here. And if you were hunting and hooked your cord on something and bent that spring, your rest would raise up. And if you didn't know it or didn't have an Allen wrench to loosen this little, this little donut here and cinch it back up, you're gonna have issues. So they have that rebound dampener on there. I think that's a huge upgrade. It's gonna come stock on all their rests this year. So any rest made in 2022, whether it's a hybrid hunter, Epsilon, Trinity is gonna have that rebound dampener. But like I was saying, the only time I've ever seen anything wrong was a guy broke that spring on his Trinity. So that's not the rest's fault. You know, he said, he's like, yeah, I had it on my pack. I was trying to get my bow off in a hurry, and I could feel it hung up, but he's like, I just cranked on it and that spring broke. But I've literally never seen anything go wrong like internally with this rest. So I think it's an awesome, awesome upgrade. Again, I think the future with bows is going to be going to this kind of integrated system where everything sits, you know, in line with the riser, just to create that really balanced feel. And you know, now that, I mean, I hate to say it, but honestly, now that Hamskea's making this, QAD is gonna have to do something big to rival it, because I mean, why would you not shoot a limb-driven rest over a cable-driven if given the option? They're the exact same price. They're both $250. You know, you're gonna get 5 times the amount of arrow support with this. All micro adjustable. It's quiet. It's reliable. There's really no reason not to shoot one of these. So definitely go check this rest out. You know, if you have a bow that has, even if it's a bow that doesn't have the, you know, the integrated rest mount, like this will mount on any bow and suck that rest in. So there's really no reason not to shoot one of these, in my opinion. So go down to your local dealer, check out the new Hamskea Epsilon. I'm already a huge fan. This bow is shooting so good. Like this is the same stabilizer setup that I had on my EVL. And I literally just threw them on there thinking like, you know, I'll probably play around with it. Obviously I don't want to hunt with like these bright weights like this, and I've never hunted. This is a 14-inch front bar on a quick disconnect, so it's more like, you know, with the weights and this, it's closer to like 16.5 inches. I don't usually hunt with a back bar, but this thing is aiming and shooting so well right now that I might just try to hunt with it. I mean, it literally is aiming like my target bow. That pin just sits in the middle and stays there the whole time. So really, really happy with it. I hope you guys can get out and get your hands on one of these rests. Complements these Matthews bows very, very nicely. So if you have any questions, feel free to hit that comment section below. Remember to head on over to InsideOutPrecision.com and pick yourself up some merch if you have not done so already. And if you get a chance, either hit the notification or that thumbs up button. It really, really helps us know what people are liking, which will help us bring content to you that you like in the future. So we really appreciate you guys. Remember, as always, precision is the decision. Keep them in the middle. I'll see you on the range.